Hey family, good day to you. And this is, I'm going to share with you something a little bit after my sermon yesterday. Today is January 30th, 2023. And yesterday we talked about the idea of being healthy with our past and being able to tell an honest story. So I want to share with you a very impactful quote that goes into that. It's by a Franciscan monk. His name is Richard Rohr. And I'm going to read an excerpt from his book. Early stage religion is largely driven by an ego needs, the need to be right, the need to feel morally superior, the need to be safe, and the need to project a positive image to others. It's all about how we look, right? How we're acting. At that point, religion has little to do with any real search for God. It is almost entirely a search for oneself, which is necessary and which God surely understands. But we do this trying to repress and deny our actual motivations and goals. These are pushed into the unconsciousness and called the shadow self. Really old people remember the shadow knows. The shadow is not the bad self, but simply the denied or rejected self. It's what we try to bury, which is totally operative, but allowed to work in secret. So that shadow self is there, it's working, but we hide it and never called to accountability from that hidden place. And this is him speaking still. In my 42 years as a priest, it has been clear to me that most people, not just religious people, focus on denying their shadow self to keep feeling good about themselves, and their ego then enjoys a perpetual holiday. It is a massive misplacement of spiritual attention. You can be a prelate or a priest in the church or a pastor with totally inflated ego while all your energy goes into denying and covering up your shadow, which then gets projected everywhere else. Here's the key line, and I'm gonna play on this one. What you don't transform, you will transmit. What you don't transform, you will transmit. Said another way, whatever pain that we do not transform, and this is all by Jesus, we transmit to our spouses, our friends, our co-workers, our children, you ad nauseum. We can see that what we don't allow to be transformed by Jesus, everyone else will see. And what helps me frame it, I've got 4 children, is that I know I transmitted some of my pain because it hadn't been transformed yet. But I desire with all my heart now that all the pain, whether it's grief, whether it's loss, all those things, that be transformed so that all that I transmit is that transformation, that I don't transmit the pain, that I don't transmit the grief. I had to walk through it. I had to deal with it. So you're going to get a link to a podcast. It's long. So I made fun yesterday about the effort some of you will spend at a Southwest app trying to get a good seat for a flight. Well, I'm talking about your game of life right now. I want you to spend time truly assessing your real story of your past. And if you've done that, great. I'm thrilled. But I don't think most people have. And honestly walk down that. So listen to the podcast would be my encouragement to you. And think about that quote, what you transform, you will transmit. And some of us can deal with our self-loathing and be miserable, but when we think of transmitting that to a child, we're like, I don't want to do that. Well, if that's the motivation you need right now, just do it for that reason. I don't care. Ultimately, we want to do it to the glory of God. But if all it takes is you looking at that child, or maybe an adult child that you've had, or maybe a grandchild that's in that innocent stage, and you go, I don't want any of that transmitted. I just want to be transformed, and we're transformed by the renewing of our minds. So listen to the podcast, check your gauges, and this one would be a heavy emotional one, but can also be turned into a mental when you go and you say, okay, I have this issue. I need to study that particular issue. And I need to be educated on it. There's nothing wrong with that. But we need to move to action. So you can just hear this go, yeah, he's right. But if you don't work and allow God to transform you, then all you're going to do is transmit what you have. And I've done it before. It's not a good plan. So by the grace of God this week, let your past, the true past, be transformed. It's a process. It's going to take time. Take time to do that. Have a great week.